Check, check. All right. Hey, what's up? We're going live. Gonna make a stylophone today. It's in the workshop. Just figured I'd go live while I'm building stuff. Right here, I've got a module that I made earlier, and it has an ohm out capability here. So it's sort of like a modular synth. You can expand it so you can switch to different sources for the resistance for the oscillator. So for example, I just made a quick little probe right here that has two leads on it. So I can plug in a mono jack right here. And then I've got a mono jack on the end of this. And that'll allow me to just test out different things like this magnetic strip that I'm going to put on the stylophone today. See how that goes. Switch a couple plugs around. All right, so I'll try to point my mic at the speaker a little bit here. So now it's on the knob control. I can swap it over to that probe I made. And if I just touch it to the tape, it should make a sound. And it's not, so I'll flip this over because I think it's the wrong side. Nothing. Oh, switch this. Oh, it turned it off. There we go. So the magnetic tape works. Very musical. All right, so I'm gonna make a stylophone, and I gotta make a faceplate for it. This is not actually gonna have any chips in it. It's just gonna be a bunch of resistors and some copper, like some copper tape like this right here. And the basic idea here is I'm gonna use that ohm out, and it's sort of like if that's right there in the circuit, you've got your Schmidt trigger, the oscillator circuit we built. It goes to that cap, ground, and then usually we have a resistor right here, right? Usually we have like a knob like this, but this ohm out is just going to bypass that with a switch. And so we don't have that anymore. So we just basically have whatever we put in here. That's the ohm in. And so, yeah, basically what I want to do is have 8 resistors or eight pots, 8 potentiometers that I can vary the pitch of, and then use like a stylophone to basically hit a copper plate to trigger each one of those. So first thing I got to do is, since there's no board on this, I'm going to make the faceplate first, which is usually one of the last things I do. So measured out 4.5 by 5.5 inches, and I'm just going to saw this bad boy and enjoy the racket. There you go. You can see. There you go. All right. All right, works if you plug it in. There we go. I'm just using some board I found outside of the school I work at. The theater department was getting rid of some stuff, so I'm gonna leave it this nice red. And it works great because it's good thickness for adding pots and everything. It's sturdy enough. I haven't had any issues with it yet. All right, get the there we go. Get saw put away, and we've got a very janky faceplate. There we go. All my stuff looks janky, and I don't care because it's handmade, and it's charming like that. Okay, so I'm gonna lay this thing out here. All right, so I'm gonna have 8 pots. Just gonna put the caps on them, give the general look here, make sure everything is all right, and then I'll start marking stuff out and drilling some holes and putting in some pots and maybe eventually soldering some stuff. Let's see how long all this stuff takes. Always takes longer than you think. So I have 8 different pitches, and then I'll have a bunch of these. So I'll use these copper plates, roughly this size, maybe a little smaller, something like that. It's just a little tester, so not being too careful, but we'll have about 8 of those, and then we'll be able to touch it with a. I'm gonna make a like a dowel with a screw in it, and that'll be my stylus. I'm gonna have this in here later, and I'll of course shorten this a little bit, but make it like a pencil so it's a little easier to hold, and just basically tap on 8 different plates. I'll have 2 rows of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll put the magnetic strip on the bottom for some fun times down there. And if all goes according to plan, it should just be a pretty nice little passive module for this thing. All right, so let's get 8. Let's get 8 holes going for these pots, and then I'll figure out some wiring after that. And it's basically all a whole bunch of wiring on this thing. It is an electronics project after all, so let's flip this over, keeping in mind it's going to be a mirror image, but this is going to be just symmetrical anyway, so we just need to make sure these are sort of evenly spaced, and then we'll figure it out. Draw some holes, and then drill some holes. All right. Let's see about how far apart we want these. Okay. So put one maybe an inch apart. Yeah, inch apart looks pretty all right. Center it up more later. Yeah, 1 inch apart sounds good to me. And then scoot them over a little bit and just kind of get going. All right. Where do I want the first one to go? The first one goes about there. Start at 0.75. Put each one on each subsequent 0.75 and see how that shakes out. Sort of good. Yeah, that's good enough for me. All right. Let's put them about there-ish. Just put a little mark there. Scoot this guy up. That's good. This is about there. I think we got some leeway to work with there. Okay, I'm going to mark off every 0.75. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then let's go down some. If that's something like that. And these guys can be somewhere in here. In the middle of it, something like that. About the middle there, just about. We got some wiggle room, so it's all good. And then same thing, every 0.75. It's inch apart, but you know, the 3/4 inch on each bit here. So that'll be for my pots. Cool. Let's see if we can get these guys to stick in there. Might as well. I'm just going to solder everything in place, so I'm going to just kind of put stuff in as I go. Yeah, just drilling holes, so nothing too crazy. All right, let's do some pilot holes with these. And then I'll make the holes a little bit bigger after. Go. First row. Done skis. All right, second row coming up. All right, we get another bit here that's a little bit bigger for the actual pots. I always forget which one I use. You'd think I'd mark it, but oh well, it's a do. This guy might be big enough. Maybe a slightly bigger one. This guy might do it. Do a quick test on my just random board I have just to make sure. I always do that. Maybe I'll actually mark this bit this time. All right, drill bits right here. All right, so I just got this random board that I, as you can see, just do some random holes in. Getting ready for the copper earlier too. All right, I'm just gonna drill a random hole in this. Let's see if that's good for my pots. All right. It's always a little bit of a mess on the other side. I'm just gonna rip it up. Really just want to see if the pot goes through. So maybe I'll do this side. That's pretty good. It's a little tight, but that's good. That's what we want. Okay, that's the right size. And just kind of wiggle it around when the bit's in there, just to make the hole a little bit wider, or I can use my Dremel if I need to. All right, I'm gonna come from the other side because it's a little cleaner that way. There we go. Do a wiggle. And next one. Do a wiggle. Let's do a couple more of those. Here we go. Buckle up. So you don't get to see all the fun, tedious stuff in the videos. It's just all edited, so it looks like I make these things in 10 minutes, but they take days. Okay. All right, I'm gonna clean this up with the Dremel for sure. It's called sander tip. Get some of the stuff out of here. Okay, it's gonna clean up these rough edges here. So pretty messy. Give it another round. All right, other side. The real messy side. I had a big old mess. All right, got some holes. All right, we have holes. I'll clean that back up just a little more because I want the potentiometers to stay really nice and flat on there. So just give that one more round to clean it up. Okay. Nice. All right. Okay, cool. Let's see if the pots fit. And then we're going to have to mark them for their orientation in just a little bit. You'll see me in a sec. But we're going to have 8 of these bad boys. So we're going to make them all sit nice and pretty in there. I could probably do a little bit bigger of a drill bit. But I might just go around and see if I can widen it just a scotch. Maybe this other bit's a tiny bit bigger. Just going to go for it and use this other one. I will test it on my other board first, though. Some random scrap wood here. Always check yourself before you wreck yourself, I guess. Making sure it's not ginormous and the pot's not slipping around. It is a little bit. It is a little bit. So I'm just going to wiggle the other one around a little bit instead. Just to get a little bit more. It's just a little snug. Widening up these holes a little bit. I do like a snug potentiometer. They're not that snug. Okay, let's see how it goes. We're gonna get there. We will. That's pretty good. You can just push them on in. All right. Again, a little snug, not a big deal. They're gonna go in. Nice. Okay. So what we're gonna do is mark where each one's going to want to sit, and there's a little tab on them. It's pretty snug. Whee! All right, so this little guy right here. Little tab right there is going to keep it from rotating while it's sitting, but we have to drill a tiny little hole wherever that's going to be. So I'm going to stick in 8 of these and rotate them so they sit nicely, and then I'll mark each one where it should stay. Got a big old bag right here. Okay, second row, don't let me down. So if that can sit like that, this guy will squeeze right in here. Whew, that was close. But yeah, they're going to be fine. Just kind of orient them all like that, I guess. Just kind of to the side, like so. And let's keep putting them in. This one's a little, there we go. Got just enough room. So I spaced them kind of like this guy, roughly. They're a little tighter, but should be good. We got some wiggle room. We're all right. So 8 pots are going in, like so. Okay, not bad. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Trying to make sure they're not touching each other. There we go. So it looks like those will be all right like that. Cool. Nice. Okay, so let us mark those. You can look at my master stylophone plan while I get a marker. Yeah, it's very, very well thought out. Okay, so I'm going to just mark where those tabs are. I'll drill some little tiny, teeny, itty bitty holes where they're going to be. So let's put a little dab right there. And I'll just drill a hole right on the inside of that mark. Probably can't see the mark because I'm using a gold marker here, but I can tell where it is well enough to drill some tiny holes. Okay, that'll keep their orientation nice. Okay. Where did the cap to this marker go? That's on the end of the pen, y'all. There we go. All right, I got to take these guys out again. There we go. You can see there's the marks. You can see them. There. Okay. Little tiny drill bit coming up. Something about just about as wide as that little tab there. A little bit wider. That one's a little too wide. Let's get a slightly smaller one. This might do the trick. That ought to do it. Yeah, it's the one we want. Okay. Swap out the bit. So those dots are right on the edge of where that tab is going to sit. So I'm going to go right on the inside of those. Usually it's just on the edge of this, and sometimes I end up connecting the two holes, but that is okay if that happens. Nothing terrible is going to happen there. So just kind of get right in between these two. I'll put a little piece of extra board down below so it's drilling into my desk, you know. It's kind of good to do. All right, so I'm just going to line this up about there and drill. And I went into the hole. See, it's totally fine, though. Totally fine. Let's just see if one sits there. And then I'll adjust the hole if I need to. Maybe go out a little farther. Oh, should I go out a lot farther? All right, then. It's all good. If we can get away with not breaking through, that's great. But if it breaks through, it's all right. It's like it sits in nice, and yeah. Might make that hole just a little bit bigger. It could sit in a little bit further. Just clean it up a tiny bit. There we go. See, it should look sort of like that. No big deal. Like I said, if it breaks through, it'll be fine. It breaks through to the inner circle. But now it's sitting nice and flush, as you can see, and this guy's not going to rotate while it's sitting in there. It's going to do that just a couple more times, and then these will be in the right spot. I'm just going to solder everything in while it's in place later. So got these leads here. Everything should be fine, and let's keep drilling some holes. Here we go. I'll just drill a bunch, and then I'll test them all after and clean them up as I need to go. I might have been too far. We'll see what's up later. Okay. Let's see if these are all good. Then I will Dremel those to clean those up. All right, there's a good one. Another good one. Satisfying. Love it when stuff works. There we go. So we're going to make this thing have 8 different assignable pitches, and then use a magnetic VHS tape for a slider. There we go, and they're not touching. Hooray. Just enough clearance. Okay. Could have used another millimeter between the 2 rows, I bet. But these are all laying in nice and flat. Now it's a little close for comfort. And this is the one I was worried about being a little far away. Let's see how it ended up. It gets in there, so we're good. And the last one's good. All right, so all of our holes and all that's great. I will clean this front up. Yeah, let's clean that up a little bit. Take these out. I know they're good, so take them in, you take them out. a whole bunch. Just making sure everything's good. No rush. Oh, what's up, Radio Bot? You're welcome. So we're just making a fancy way of just selecting these different potentiometers by touching a copper plate. It's really just making momentary connections. That's life, Bunch of momentary connections. Getting deep. Getting deep up in here. All right. So potentiometer's good. Oh yeah, it's gonna clean those up. Let's do that. Clean them up. Clean them up. So you have to just kind of scrape them off. I'm just gonna do that. Maybe if I can save some of that paint, that'd be cool, but not. That's what magic markers are for. It's got these little flaps from the drill bit coming through. Okay, I will Dremel to clean it up just a little more though. Smooth, I guess. All right, I can clean it up more if they seem a little sticky or something later. But I think we're gonna move on. Yeah, I'm using the case as a broom. I don't care. All right. So, what's next? Well, as you can see from my diagram here, we're going to have each pot. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a copper strip that's going to go to basically one of the inputs of that ohm in. So one side of our, what would normally be our potentiometer, right? So it's going to go to a copper strip right here. So that'll go to the unit. And then each of the legs of each potentiometer is going to be soldered to that one strip. Consider it like a rail. And then each potentiometer on the other leg is going to have a copper strip. And then the other, I guess you could say the output of the ohm in there will be the stylophone end that'll complete the circuit and send it back into the oscillator circuit. So whenever you connect the pin or the pen to a copper strip, yeah, it'll complete the circuit, selecting that one potentiometer and generating whatever pitch we've got that resistor set to. So I'm gonna have to make 8 little plates. I have to make a rail. I'll have to make the stylophone, and then down at the bottom, I'll have to figure out a way to get the magnetic strip there to sit nicely. I've got some super glue in store for that one. All right, so stylophone. Let's see what we can do here. So each one of these will be on top. So I've got lots of space here. I do want to have this on the side. So maybe I'll put that going along the bottom on the underside of it right here, and I'll connect each potentiometer to that copper strip. So we could just go ahead and do that. We could just go ahead and put the copper strip in and start soldering some potentiometer legs to it. After that, we could pop in the plates and see how that goes. All right, so we want it to be on this side, right there. It doesn't need to be gigantic. We're gonna have 8 patch points to it, or 8 solder points to it, but be generous, and I can. Who cares? I got tons of this stuff. I'll use plenty. And this will be our rail. I'm gonna just super glue it in and hope for the best there. It does have some adhesive tack on one side of it, but I'm gonna super it up with some super glue. How sticky is that by itself? Stuff's really old. Got it from my dad's garage. Just had a whole bunch of stuff. I bet y'all got some dads like that. Just got a random spool of copper tape. Cool, I'll take it. And I'll actually use it. Who knows? It's probably been sitting there for 20 years. This is the part where I super glue my hand to the board. It's going to be real funny. All right, let's get this to lay sort of flat. Sort of flat. There we go. Ish. Got one shot. Mom spaghetti on this. Here we go. A couple of dabs. Do ya? See, I'm putting the cap back on. It's not going to dry out. Let's not super glue this to our hands. It's a little long. I snip it. This is dangerous. Life on the edge, folks. Is it stuck to me? No, it's the old glue, I hope. Okay. Something like that. Okay, well, let's hope that stays. I'm going to just smooth it down with this. Is it going to stay? Probably not. Probably not. All right, I'm going to just hold it down with some electrical tape for the time being. Hopefully that glue will dry and we'll be good later. Is this going to interfere? Nah, we good. Yeah, that'll be just fine like that. All right, hopefully that super glue will do its job on most of the strip there. And if it comes off, we'll figure something out later. All right, so we will be going ahead and trying to think about how we put these in just right. So that everything flows the right way. Probably just do one to test it. So if this were the first pitch, this would go here. You want it to come in the left leg and go out the right leg, or the middle leg, I should say. So this would be our coming from the box. Okay, so this would go to the rail, and this will have a wire that will go to. Oh, gotta put gotta put a little jack on here somewhere for that. So I'll probably put it down at the bottom left, so I can play it with my right hand a little easier. So I'll put a jack down here at the bottom that will connect to this. Okay, so that's how it's gonna go. All right. Let's actually do that jack. Let's make that jack. So that way we can test it as we go. Make that jack. Here's Jack. What's up, Jack? Put it down here in the corner. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going for it. Just going for it. These jacks, they need a little bit of a little bit more. They're a little bit short to fit in this, so I'm gonna have to kind of Dremel this out just a little bit so it'll sit in a little bit better. So I'm gonna clean it up and make sure everything fits right. Sanding this down a lot more here so I can get that jack to sit in a little bit deeper. It needs to be a little recessed. Cool. All right. See how the jack fits. It's kind of the whole point is to be able to plug this into the module, So let's make sure we can do that. This guy will sit right here. Haha. Cool. And let's see if this sits nicely here. We're gonna just go. We're gonna put stuff in and just consider it done. Okay, there it is. We got an input jack. Comms jack. All right. Nice and tight. It is tight. So let's see here. So when I go to the ground, that'll be my, let's see. Yes, like this, the tip one will be here, and then the one that's usually ground is going to go to the output of our circuit. So this will go to the pen itself. So that's going to go to the pen, which I'll make in a little bit. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just do a jumper from here to the copper pad, and then each of the potentiometers will also go to the copper pad. And hopefully we got enough space. We'll have enough space. It's going to be good. All right, so let's go ahead and fire up the soldering iron. And I'm going to turn the fan on. So it's a little noisy, but I like having, lungs and stuff is good. Blowing them fumes away out the door. I'm in the garage, so well ventilated. Just blowing it out there. Here we go. All right, fan, what up? Okay, so just a tiny jumper. Got a whole bunch of jumpers in this little bin here. Little tiny bin of jumpers. I like green. Let's do a green one. That one's a little long. That one's a little short. That's how it goes. That's fine. That one's a good one. Just trying to move the sleeve on this down a little bit. There we go. Evening that out some. There we go. And then I've got to hopefully just get it onto this bad boy. Let's maybe I can zoom in a tad for you. It's a little out of focus too. Oh, the fan is making it vibrate. Let's move the fan a little bit. There we go. Okay, this should be better. Any better? Okay. I'm gonna crimp this around a little bit. Make a little hook. That'll go into this little guy right here. There we go. Pinch it on. Get some contact. I'll eventually go to that. Cool, that'll be good. And yeah, we just slap some solder on this thing and be good to go. That ain't going nowhere. Tricky bit's gonna get getting this on the copper plate nicely, nice and flush. It's kind of got some pressure there. That's good. Okay. Let's see if I can use a helping hand here to just pinch it down there a little bit better. Holding it in place. Nice. Okay. So that will be good with globs of solder. I'm going to try to heat up the elements and not just the solder itself, but how to solder, but when it gets to flow around pretty well on the copper and on the lead. Okay, hopefully that's a good solder joint. I hope. Okay. Now, as far as the wire is going to go for the pen, I'm going to use this cord I've got laying around here. And I'll have to make the other end later, but I do want to be able to test it. So let's just use the one end of this here. So this one's a little more flexible for the pen. I'll have plenty left over. It's pretty long, so I'll just kind of sample it to see if it works before I make my elegant pen out of a screw and a piece of wood. We can play around with it a little bit with this, just bare end. It's a little tiny wire. It's hard to strip. Stripped. Okay. And then get this on the other end. This little guy right here. There we go. Twist it up, make it a little more easy to bend and get in there. Thread the needle. Okay, let's get some solder going on this. Good. That is on there. Okay. So let's get 8 potentiometers. We're going to try one first. We're going to just give one a shot to see if it works. Then we'll try 2, see if that works. Proof of concept, if we get 2 going, we can probably just go and do all 8. So let's try one out first. So we want to go from this leg here to that. And that'll be connecting it to our box. So they'd be like using this as the knob. All right, so to my pile of little jumpers. Let's use yellow for going from pot to the rail. Okay. Ooh, that was bad. Okay, it's got its own little pressure there, making contact on the copper pad, and let's do it. Clean off my iron. It's gross. See, I do clean it off. There we got it. Flow and good. There's one. Now that's going to have its own little note right here. So let's figure those out and make some room for everything. I've got a scrap piece of copper, so I'm going to use the scrap piece to just sort of measure some stuff out. Where did the scrap piece go? There it is. Okay. Unplug the soldering iron for the time being. Just letting you know what I'm up to. So we're going to want 8 of these, and we'll have 2 rows of 4. And we want to leave room for the magnetic tape as well. So let's find the magnetic tape. Magnetic tape, the VHS tape. That was at Goodwill. The only VHS they had was Jesus and His Times. So just destroying a Jesus VHS for science. It's kind of ironic. It's kind of funny. I'm sure he wouldn't mind doing some stuff. Okay, so it's going to be that wide for the magnetic tape. It's it'll be about like that. Leaves us plenty of room to put 2 rows of 4. Okay, so magnetic tape will be there. These could be about, since this thing's 4.5 inches wide, they can probably be about 2 inches each. An inch and a half would be plenty, I think. Try an inch and a half. I think that'll look pretty cool. Putting a lot of faith in this super glue for later. Which one's actually an inch and a half? Let's see. That one's not. That's an inch and a quarter. Ding dong. This one is probably an inch and a half then. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's see what 2 of those look like next to each other. They'll be roughly the same size. This is how I'm going to do it. Cool. Yeah, that'll look nice having 2 rows of those. Okay, so that'll be 4 of those. We're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty good with space. These might actually be the ones I use. We'll see. Cutting some copper. So each potentiometer will connect to one end of this, and then I'll touch it with the probe, the stylophone end, the stylus. I guess that's where it gets its name from. The stylus phone. Why not just go ahead and cut these and use it? Why not? Three more. So tedious. Getting to the nasty bits of that copper, so I switch to the good roll. Precision engineering. So, how's it going to look? Tape here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of these. Okay, those would be like our little touch pads. It'll be a little neater, but not too bad. Too bad. Like I'm just getting the layout, see where I want to start marking these to start. Maybe around there. Looks nice. Something like that. Okay, so the first one. There. Oh, hey now. All right. So maybe the first one around there be cool. So I'm gonna have one hole on each side of them. And the other end is just hopefully gonna lay flat with some super glue. The rest of it will, and then this end will connect to the potentiometer leg over there. See how that goes. So let's measure these out. Make sure everything's nice and neat, as neat as I can make it. I'm not the neatest of people, so that's how we roll. So I'll let the first edge, yeah, I like it there. Let's put a dot. This pen's not working. I will use the Sharpie. There. Okay. Now, let's see about how far we want these to be apart. Kind of like that. Okay. Sure, I've got another ruler around here. This one's a little unwieldy. Let me see if I got my other one. Nah. Oh well. We're going to make do with this one. It's going to just be kind of rough anyway, so it is okay. Okay. Could just eyeball it. I'm tempted. Okay. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, dot. Not terrible. Not the worst. Let's just see how it goes with 1 or 2. Let's do 2. Let's do 2 of them. Put a weensy hole there. We're going to fold the one end of the copper through. That'll be our lead. But we can get away with a pretty small hole and just fold that copper around a little bit on one end and pass it through. Oh, good. That our copper is right there. Let's see if we get away with this. Might have to scoot it just to the right. Hooray! It did not hit our copper. Okay. All right. Well, let's make one lead here. So I'll take a piece of copper. I'll put a little bit of a jumper on there. I'll put a jumper on there. That's what I'm doing. And it's going to come out right here. And it's going to want to get to that middle post on this guy. So we don't need a huge jumper. To the jumper bin. Nothing crazy. Let's do, let's not do yellow. Let's try this blue guy out. So one end will go on this, and one end will go to that. That's plenty long. Don't care if it's a little too long. Rather be too long than too short. All right, put the soldering iron, let it warm up for a sec. Okay, I'm just trying to get it to have a little bit of its own pressure on here so it's making contact. There we go. I'm going to push up from the bottom. Going to heat up the copper and hopefully that and get a nice flow going. Got it. Okay, and so this is going to need to go in the board like so. And I'd like this too. Let's wrap this around just a little bit. So it goes through the hole, and hopefully it'll come up nice and flush-ish. See how that goes. In you go. In that goes. And then we'll have this strip. I'll flatten it out and stuff and glue it. So there's one little pad right there. And let's connect it to the leg of our potentiometer. Okay, crimp that around a little bit to get a nice snug fit. All right. Solder time. Okay, it's on there. If anything, we should have one working note at this point, if all goes well. We'll see. Kind of excited to see what happens here. So it'll eventually just be like that. And glued down. Hopefully that glue works. If not, I'll just have some floppy things. Now I'll just tape it or something in the meantime. But what we've got so far, let's just do a recap. We're coming in. Let me zoom out here so you can see our module. Okay, so I got my module. I've got the ohm. I'm going to call it the ohm in. The ohm in system. That's going to go down to the bottom of our board here, which is going to make it use this as the potentiometer once I connect our little pen. So we've got one side of our circuit going to there, to that rail. The rail is going through the potentiometer. Then we're coming back out here to the pad, and then we're going to connect it with our stylus right now, which is just a wire. That'll complete the circuit over here and send it back over to our module to make sure everything's good and working and sending that resistance that we set this one to. So we'll see if like everything's good. Maybe things are backwards and we'll have to maybe switch around some wires. But we'll start it at sort of a medium pitch. Hey, let's throw a knob on there for the heck of it. It might be staying. It might be staying. If, remember to put that nut on there. Okay, which I will. Don't worry. All right, so let's turn our module on. Get some power going to it. I always have it unplugged just for safety. Okay, so let's see if it works with just the oscillator. All right, so we got sound. But let's switch it over to our system and see if we get anything. Nothing. Interesting. Some squeaky sounds. Nothing really, though. So, we might have a short somewhere. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. But let's see what happens if we just touch it directly to this. Nothing there. Nothing there. We are getting a scratchy sound. So, something is funky. Something is funky indeed. Oh, there it is. Ha! It's working. But it's backwards. Okay, so I just need to switch over the potentiometer legs. Got those mixed up then. But hey, it works. So it could be a couple things that I could switch. We'd probably switch these two. That'll reverse things. Or I could just switch the potentiometer legs. Let's try switching the ones on the jack. See how that goes. Okay, let me try that out. Soldering iron back on. Yeah, live and learn. Anyway, hey, there's some people hanging out. That's cool. What's up? I'm just chuffed that even 3 people are chilling. Because I'm going to be doing this anyway. I think I will just do the potentiometer, actually. Well, let's just do that. These will be a little easier to get off, I think. Yeah, that was much easier. Let's switch those around, see what's up. So that's why you don't do all 8 at one time. So one thing I've learned is test everywhere you possibly can. There's a little through hole on the back of that. Makes it nice to hook in. Let's start doing that for all of them. Oops, looks like my hack job over here is not doing so great. Oh boy. Where it was connected to the pad there, just moving this wire too much, popped it off, but I think it's okay. Just barely okay. Okay, it's so janky, but it's gonna work. Okay, time to throw some solder in. Okay, that bad boy is soldered on nicely. Let's do some sounds. Let's do some sounds. We got a sound. Does it go the right way? It does now. That's so delightful. So hey, the thing works. Let's see if we can get a couple. Let's see if we can get a couple going here. Turn off the module. So hey, we've got a modular synth. Cool. Oh, you're making an APC. Nice. That's awesome. I've got one of the Synthrack. I don't know. One of those little kits to make one of those. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but they seem pretty similar. They've got to have some differences in timbre and whatnot to this thing, though. I'm sure. I just found this 4106 chip to be so easy and use fewer components. Well, I had a success. That always feels good to have a success, a singular success. With it wouldn't be this hobby if you didn't have a hiccup or two along the way. All right, so I got one pad. Let's make a second pad. Let's do it. Let's make a pad. Soon. Yeah, they're fun, man. You get 6 whole oscillators on one chip. Like what? It's like $1. It's crazy. So yeah, there we go. It ain't pretty, but it works. It ain't pretty, but it works. All right. Another little copper pad. We'll make let's pop in another pot here. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna forget to put this on. Synthrotech. That was the brand. Yeah. Got a Synthrotech APC kit laying around inside. It's one of those things you put on your Christmas wish list because your family members are like, "What the hell are you doing? Don't know what to get you. Give me this weird circuit thing." They're like, "Cool, thanks. Thanks for making it easy." Nice. Got a 4106. Did you get just mail them? Just get them in the mail. There's like no electronic stores anymore, man. I live in a big city and there's not anywhere to get just any little DIY hobby parts. Radio Shack, man, it used to have stuff. It was cool. Like walk in there and get a bunch of capacitors and breadboards and all that. Those days are long gone. Yeah, that's where I get them. Nice. Did it work out there, Doom? Tis a lovely chip. Hey, the super glue is working pretty all right on this strip. I've got some good feelings about that. It's dried now, so that is staying nice and tight. Heck yeah, you got it to work. Awesome. It's always the best feeling. I have a pile of things that don't work somewhere around here. It's pretty funny if you want to see it. It's my pile of stuff that didn't work. Some of it's salvaging stuff, but hey, if you don't have a box of boards I just gave up on, you're not doing it right, or you're doing it totally right. That's one or the other. Okay, got a second pot in there. I'm gonna just go ahead and install it. I'm gonna pretend like everything's good and everything's gonna be just fine. Well, the thing with the polarity, I guess you could call it, of the circuit there. So I'm feeling a little more confident. Sometimes I paint these, but I like the red. I don't know what the theater kids were doing with all this stuff, but it's a nice color choice for whatever they were doing. Okay, so we'll have that one go into the rail, as I call it, and have another one going to this hole. Okay, so nothing too crazy long again. To the jumper box. That went out to do. Yeah, don't mind if it's a little long. Totally okay. All right. Oh no, you had the backwards pots as well. It's only annoying because the pitch goes the wrong way, but I mean it works. But you're like, hurts your brain. Brain's like, it ain't right. This one's not wanting to go as easy as the others. Come on, guy. There we go. Oops. These little helping hands are just the best. I don't know how I went so long without them. Satisfying solder. All right. It is really satisfying. Yeah. It's like you got like, do I live with a mistake forever? And every time I play with it, be reminded, kick myself for not just redoing it. Yeah. Luckily the pots are easy enough to switch around. Yeah. Okay. Got another pad going here. Okay. Cool. There's two. All right. Let's see. If we can get 2 notes out of this thing, 2 whole notes. Wow. Could be half notes. Could be 16th notes. Haha. Got jokes. I got jokes. It is very satisfying to sort of make this a little modular, and you can experiment with different, just any items that have varying resistance. Like I used my solder sponge. It sounded dope. Like I was playing a sponge earlier. It's crazy. Oscillator's working. Let's go ahead and switch over to our board. We got 2 notes, yo. That's a little janky. You may have to fix a connection there, but yeah, it's working just fine. Beautiful. We got a 2-note melody going. We're making bangers. Well, I'm having fun with just 2 notes here. Okay, man. That's cool. Well, could go through and add in all the other bits and bobs, but I think I might call it for the evening. And I'll just finish that up later. But man, thanks for hanging, y'all. I'm glad a couple people showed up, and I'll keep doing this if y'all are digging it. It's kind of cool to see what y'all are working on. Got the Atari Punk console going. Good luck on that one. And I'm glad y'all are into the 4106 chips. It's pretty cool to actually hear that someone's made one with my instructions. It's just heartwarming. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, y'all. I think we got the main idea how to do it. So I'll just flip it over once more to recap what we did today. So I have my plate. I drilled some holes first for the pots to sit in. And the idea of the circuit here was to take the potentiometer where it normally be in a 4106 synth, taking that pot out and trying to replace it with 8 others that you can momentarily switch on with a stylus. So I have one part of that circuit. The first part, it's called part A, where you normally put the first leg of the pot, go into a rail. The rail feeds into each of the 8 pots, and each pot has its own pad that you can touch to complete the circuit, essentially selecting a resistor. So what that looks like here is we're coming from our module from here, going to the rail. Each of the pots has a yellow lead going to that rail, and a blue line going to each of the pads that we'll have on there. And eventually the magnetic tape will be on there too, which is pretty fun. It's like an actual stylophone. The range is a little funky on it, but it does what it's supposed to. So I'll get all the knobs on this thing a little later, another day. I'm going to call it a day, but I hope you all have a good one. Thanks for joining in.